Hello everyone, and welcome back to a new episode of Prismata. We're going to jump in the queue here, and I was just watching a game that just ended, but I guess at least one of the players is already matched. It was Lycomedes versus Nameless Surf, that's right. I don't see Nameless Surf listed, so maybe we'll get matched with that person. Let's watch these guys. They're playing at a reasonable time control. I saw a couple big red units and also Savior. I'm not sure if any of that is relevant. Both players going with a 2NG thing for... I guess Ebb and these 2 blue Soakers together with maybe Zatron? Endotherm Kit would be a pretty big threat to anyone who tried to go for this big red stuff. You might someday be able to get it together with like Xeno Fang. Endotherm? I don't know, that's pretty ambitious to build all that at once. Just building an Animus because Tarsiers are good, basically? And next turn you want an Ebb, so TT Ebb, and then the Tarsiers arrive together with whatever first other attacker you build. That's good enough to make it worthwhile, I think. Or are we building Endotherm? Surely not against a bunch of Urbans, right? If we do, the opponent can sort of just build more Urbans and not worry about it. Yeah, I think the Tarsiers are better for the reasons I suggested. It would be really nice to get Fangs at some point, but if you do it, if you build the second Animus too soon, I think you're actually vulnerable to Endotherm Kit. I'm not sure, but it seems that way. Alright, well, I sort of expect Scabe to build a lot of Sentries and Xenos against this. Right, like maybe a second Blast Forge, even. I don't know if you... Really? This doesn't seem very good against the guy who already has 2 Blast Forges. What? This makes it a little awkward for the opponent because they can't build a Xeno, but they can just build like a Rhino. There's a lot of Ebbs. Are we gonna try to be breach proof was my question? You might actually build a Blood Pact here. It's a bit early, but it lets you get out the Xeno comfortably, and I believe you'll have enough. This will have arrived when the Grimbotch is defending. Is that true? Yeah. This Endotherm Kit would arrive on the exact turn the Grimbotch gets held back to defend. So it would not be a very great Grimbotch to give to your opponent. That is to say, your opponent would not be that excited about it. It's an interesting thought. Getting out the Xeno feels pretty useful to me. But I don't know. I don't understand this whole Ice Blade business. Maybe it's good somehow, but it doesn't seem like it to me. Can you freeze Engineer Rhino? No. Then they just lose wall NG. So you have to freeze 2 NGs to make them lose a Rhino, I guess? Or freeze a wall, which I guess is similar. And then they lose 3 NGs in a Rhino. there'll be enough attack to kill the Ice Blades. Yeah, I don't like Scabe's position at all. Way behind on Soak, hoping that the Ice Blades will make up for it, but your opponent's denying Absorb while they kill them, so they're really only 4 health Ice Blades. Which is not great. And we're behind on the cryo, or not the cryo, the endotherm timing. Opponent even gets this Nemo, which is nice, of course. Yeah. This Tarsier is kind of greedy, isn't it? If you're building 4 NGs, shouldn't you also build a Rhino? Maybe like Medes has calculated and determined that it's fine. Man, the endotherm kit to threaten to breach all this stuff and get to Tarsiers, and then you just say, LOL, just kidding, killed an Ice Blade. And soaked with a Rhino. It seems kind of cool. I feel like you kind of have to just not defend the endotherm kit at this point. Like, we're so far behind on defense. It's just not a thing you can do. Just say, kill all my Tarsiers, kill a bunch of drones if you want to spend your freeze on that. Or wait a turn and then breach and kill all this freeze. I don't know, I think Lycomedes has won this one. What's the backswing look like? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 with 16 freeze. Yeah, but you're not even really gonna have all of this, right? Is this worth? Maybe it is. Yeah, you get the 2 Tarsiers. That's better than the Ice Blade, and all it costs you is 1 bite. Wait, shouldn't you freeze the NGs in the force field instead of the Rhinos? This is a clear error. If you're freezing 4 health worth of stuff, it should be these guys. Huh. I guess there is an argument for doing this, which is, in principle, you could choose to believe that it's wrong for your opponent to click the Rhinos, but that they'll click them anyway. And by leaving the Rhinos alive, you give the opponent a losing option. I haven't looked through to see if that is actually a reasonable belief to hold. But it's one argument you could make for what is a clear error, is that it's a complicated enough position that your opponent might make a mistake. Okay, so, wow. A lot of blue and green, like fission, high econ. The only thing I'm worried about is Ice Blades. Is there some way that Ice Blades defeat this? And like, it's gotta be no. Because, yeah, okay. Because of Aussies. So, I think you're going for high econ and buying like pretty much everything in the set except Ice Blades. The fissions and the synth will help you get the energy matrix and eventually force fields. The animus will get you ossified drones and a reservoir, so that you don't have to invest a lot in red attackers. You can just build like fissions and blue stuff. Or maybe you'll even build one of these guys at some point. Probably before the ossified, of course. Well, maybe you could get Rezo ossified and then don't click the ossified, just build 1 Gaussite, and then get back to what you were doing with the ossified drones. I don't know. It might be better to just build these 2 and... Like, you're never going to be sad to have green, and there's just absolutely piles of soak. So this is a gigantic reservoir set, I think. Sort of makes you wonder, like, about the ossified drones. Are you going to run out of drone supply before you run out of force field supply? I don't know. I think that's rarely a concern that matters. But I don't know when, so... are we going Forge first or Conduit first here? The Forge lets you get a synth, which is cool. And you do want a synth eventually, but maybe just building a Conduit first is fine. And then a Forge, and then you could get, like... It's not clear when you work in the synth is the thing, right? I think I want Forge into synth as my beginning. Because if you get the Conduit first, then you get a Forge. You kind of want the red pretty soon. But like, Animus plus synth, you might have to stop droning at that point, which I don't think you want to do. With these giant absorbers and giant soakers, I feel like you might want all of the drones, or pretty close to it. But it's important to get the reservoir soon, I think. Maybe it's not. Maybe there's so much soak that you can delay it a little. I think I'll try synth first, and then, I don't know, it'll be easier to visualize once we're a few turns ahead. So maybe I'll just play a turn or two quickly here, rather than trying to maximize the use of my time bank, which is what I usually do in the early turns. Right now I can't think through very clearly what I need to do, so I'll just bank up some time. I know, like, you only get a quarter of it, but it'll be a lot more useful in the future than it is now. Surely just triple drone Conduit, right? Otherwise this third engineer is pretty weird. For player 2, I think Conduit first is very obvious. But, you know, maybe my opponent can see some really valuable use for this 4 gold. I haven't thought about it that much from their perspective. Maybe there's something better to do. So next turn I'll have 16 drones and a blast forge, let's say. Then I can build synth animus is 12, and I could only build 1 additional drone that turn. That's probably a bit too much, right? I could just build... Oh, I should just build synth and 3 drones, right? Yeah. This is clearly better than building a conduit and then a forge. It gets me the same amount of green, but more green income. And yeah, I just actually can't think of any reason to not do this now that I'm looking at it. Oh, found something to float for. Interesting. I assume it was a forge? Like a forge plus something next turn? What are you doing with the $4? You want 3 drones, you want a forge. I guess you're floating the $4 even past next turn to like maybe get an animus or something? To try to get first reservoir? What? Gaussite is your first green, maybe? But you don't want an attacker yet, do you? I mean, certainly, like, if you want Animus first, floating 4 is a good way to get there. You don't often want Animus first in a high econ line, though. Okay. I'll be interested to see where that goes. So, against this, I'm not sure I still want the 3 drones. I might consider an Animus and just 1 drone. To get the reservoir out before they can. Right, next turn I can build, like, a wall, assuming they build Gaussite. Reservoir, ossified. That leaves me 10 bucks. Drones? Seems good. Maybe I don't even build the wall. Maybe I just get a militia, and then I can synth into Matrix the next turn, or not if I want to just let my ossified defend if they don't build another attacker. Yeah, I think the wall might be a little bit unnecessary, and militia would just be better. And then get back to droning? Yeah, I said that already, didn't I? I don't really want a fission turret. I'm not attacking yet. The militia is, you know, just gonna get whatever value it gets. Ooh, interesting. I still don't know about this ossified drone. Like, I think it's fine. There is legitimately a concern about running out of drones, I think. This is a high enough econ reservoir set where that's something to think about. And you could argue maybe I shouldn't ossify any more than 7 drones. But in the meantime, this guy's a pretty handy absorber. I don't know. Maybe he's not a good absorber. How can you not be getting green? What is the deal? I guess you're not building a wall this turn, so you might as well go get a forge. But these 2 Tarsiers and Gaussite are going to give my Matrix great value. You won't be able to, like, militia poke it. Surely you get a synth here. Nothing else is any good, is it? What? I mean, I guess. No, that's terrible. I'm building a Matrix anyway. Alright, let's do an economy check. They're the same. Opponent's up a drone, but I have a militia. And I have access to Matrix and they don't? I think a Tarsier is fine here. I'll want to be attacking with it relatively soon. I forgot that I would have 3 blue, not 2, and therefore I wanted a militia when I decided I was going back to droning this turn. Well, okay, the opponent finally has some green. Are they going to get the reservoir? Is it too late? Do you try to beat me without it? I would love some more green. Maybe I should have gotten a synth instead of this militia, to be honest. Since I know it's just giving me $1 this turn. Yeah, maybe. But I was sort of hoping to make the Tarsier be useful when it arrives. Maybe that's a bit silly. I can pick up a Gaussite next turn. To spend... my red and get an attacker, right? But like not a slow attacker, and also like green. Green is amazing. I want it all. Ossifying isn't a huge priority, but it is going to be pretty useful. You know, Reservoir loves soak, and so just whenever you can sneak in an ossified drone while still spending all your tech, I'm pretty happy with that. Probably Fission Turret is great as well. Now we're attacking for 5. Should I get another attacker? Should it be a splitter or a what? Like or should I get a synth? A synth seems actually pretty great. I'm not a great Reservoir player, but the Reservoir is coming up in just a couple turns, and every green I have is going to be amazing, isn't it? So what if I just do this? 3, 4, 6. Seems all right. Getting 5 green per turn, I like it. These ossified drones have been very like stuttery, right? Build one and then like, I guess it's not. I built one and then I clicked one and then I didn't click any. It hasn't been a bunch of turns like on and off as I was thinking it had been. They're newer than they looked. Yeah, and of course like I have Gaussite clicks as well. What? I don't know about that. I mean, I assume you're thinking ahead to ossified clicks and maybe imagining symbiote purchases, but... So I want to do this. And I want... what? Maybe I just click both of these and don't buy anything red this turn. That seems okay. Get a fission. At least one. And probably 2 is fine, right? And let's just throw in a militia. I don't know. And I think I just need MDs. 4, 5, 6, 9. So that's an amount where my opponent will want to make another matrix, and then I can click militias to deny that value. Next turn, we're building all the force fields, and we will have 3, 7, 8 green. That seems good, although it could be better. I might actually be like building clicking synth even at some point to like build a matrix maybe. And, it depends on if I need more soak here. I don't think I will because I'll have the ossified drones. I think I can actually build all this. All right, well 8 green is fine. Probably build 1 fission as well to keep the train going. I don't know. That train might be a bit imaginary. Maybe I'm probably not building 8 force fields, am I? I want, like, the whole point of this is that, like, there's this soak, right? Aegis. And so I'll just build a few. I don't know. Maybe I'll build a few, maybe I'll build more. But I don't want to like immediately tank my economy if my opponent can like survive long enough to deal with it. Honestly, I feel like this is just giving me license to not worry so much about the Reservoir. I don't know. Maybe that is fine for my opponent. I'm just like, I'll build an Aegis against this, right? You're spending 3 green and an attacker, and I'm spending 3 green and 6 gold to deal with it. I guess that's the plan, is they're going to try to pressure me off of the Reservoir completely. As much as possible, anyway. But the whole point of Reservoir is I have piles of soak. I wouldn't have gotten it otherwise. Alright. So, I mean, yeah, this is a lot. So say I click both of these guys. I'm then not defended, but I can just get an Aegis, and a Splitter, and one of these, and 4 Force Fields. That seems fine, right? So how many Engies am I keeping alive this way? Just 2? Because they're losing this. That seems good. Especially if I can convince them to hold the Splitter this way. This might actually be too many ossified drones. Because if I hold one more, then I can keep all 3 Engies. No, I have granularity problems, and I don't want 3 Engies. What am I, like, fissions are not relevant. I guess granularity is a little relevant. I'm also thinking about, like, the number of drones that I have is not that high. This looks alright. I don't know. Right, they're losing 1, so I get to keep 2 Engies, and I don't want 3. I don't want to be clicking fissions. I guess I could click fissions now, but why? The 4 Force Field Reservoir is not that imposing, I must say. But I threatened to get a lot more. And it didn't really cost me that much to invest in it. The opponent just doesn't have the right tech. You need to build a wall here, of course. Okay, sure. Matrix, I guess. Wouldn't you want an Aegis instead of these force fields? Maybe this is important because of granularity. Like Aegis Rhino instead of 2 force fields. That's pretty much all your gold, though. Well, they're perfectly granular here, so I'm not holding back anything with my militias. Oh, yeah, I guess that is a thing. I forgot that... Okay, well, their attack is a little bit granular, so maybe I'll go back and lose an Aussie to keep 2 Engies. The granularity might be worth more than a gold. But we start here. They're attacking for 9. Maybe I just build a wall, and then it's 1 ossified drone. They can hold back if they want. Look at these drones go. Seems okay. I don't know. I think they should probably click a militia. But it's not such great value that I want to stop them from doing it. Or hold back a splitter would also be fine. But they want to attack for an even number. Which would make me lose 2 or 3 two ossifieds instead of wall ossified. That would certainly be an imposition for me. Okay. So this one, I think... I mean, I think the set was all about Reservoir. But there was a lot of delicate handling in how you play it, and I'm sure I got it quite wrong. But it didn't really matter because my overall game plan was the right one, I think. And my opponent did the wrong thing, and so it didn't really matter how badly I played my thing. I felt like I somehow got too few drones. Kind of, maybe this Animus was a turn too soon. Yeah, I guess that, looking back, that is maybe where I started, I don't know. The thing is, this Animus was in response to a very odd choice from my opponent, and I thought it was important to get the Reservoir out first. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's more important to just, like, drone. And be able, like... The point of Reservoir is there's a lot of soak, and so... This just doesn't feel like enough drones. I got more, you know, that's cool. But I kind of stopped here at 9... No, at 20, I guess. I forgot to count the ossified drone when I was counting here, at 20. And then all these attackers, I don't know. They came in at the right time. They were probably good. Because I clearly wanted the Matrix, and... I don't know. I just feel like the Reservoir arrived one turn sooner than I really wanted it to. I would have been happy to continue soaking and just building some attackers this turn. And not force field 4 drones. But, I mean, I could have done that if I wanted, not force fielded. But having the Reservoir arrive now, it's clearly right to force field, because, you know, attackers are better than drones. I also wonder, like, if this militia should have been a splitter. I'm not really going to be clicking 4 militias anytime soon, and so having it available to sack as a wall someday might be better to save, like, a force field and a half. I don't know. I think maybe it is worth what I did here to get this Animus to stop the opponent getting first Reservoir. It's not that huge an imposition, and it lets me get started on the ossified drones. Although, as I predicted, I sort of went one turn without them. But actually, they sort of arrived, like, at exactly the right time. Yes, this stall turn looks a little silly, but I didn't need them yet, right? And then, as soon as I wanted them, I had 2, right? Which is perfect. So, that ossified did seem to be timed about right. Yeah. So like I said, you could click the militia here. I honestly wouldn't have minded more green for Aegises, but that's probably incorrect. Probably 5 is plenty. Well, is it? No, it doesn't seem like enough at all, now that I say it out loud. Because you'd like Aegis Wall, that's 8, and then like some force fields. Sorry, why did I say 8? That's how much health they have, but I meant to be counting money, that's 11. Yeah, maybe you don't actually want to be building Aegises, at least not at the economy size I had. And so I had plenty of green. The opponent just wasn't really attacking for enough, and by building these reservoirs, we put on enough pressure that they couldn't keep clicking Symbiote. How did the grass look, by the way? Interesting. They like jumped up to 6 and stayed there for a while, which doesn't seem great. Similar economies. Alright. Well, a cool Reservoir game. I don't feel like I played it disastrously, but it definitely didn't feel perfect for by any means. I wonder, I don't think I was going to be able to click the Fissions if the game had gone on, but I guess I'm sort of like out of drones, so yeah, there's that. I guess I'm really like, I'm quite all in here. I have to win very soon because of how few drones I have. What, like, you do this, I think that's a good idea. And yeah, it defends like this for me, fine. Now they're attacking for 10, which is just like losing an ossified drone, basically. I'm not sure if I should click these, I might want more force fields. But let's get like a militia, as many force fields as we can, and then an ossified drone. Yeah, I can't really spend the green anymore, so... You know, maybe I don't even want the ossified drone. I can always do it later, right? Maybe not. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm going to be turning this drone into a force field next turn is the thing. I guess... a force field costs $1, which the ossified drone does not cost. But it attacks, which the ossified drone does not. So the force field next turn is correct if I can defend next turn without having to lose a force field, and it's wrong. It's better to ossify otherwise. I would have $6. Suppose I'm spending 5 on a force field, right? 1, I'm sorry. I'll have 5 left. I'll actually have lost an ossified drone on defense, assuming that they can click everything, which I guess is a bit of a stretch. Maybe this could be a splitter, actually. Yeah, that's better than a militia, I think. It's not like I'm breach-proof, so the militia's health isn't going to be useful, but the splitter's ability to defend might be. As like a wall that threatens next turn, maybe? So I think I can probably not force field here. But if I'm holding the splitter to defend, wouldn't it just be better to ossify and, like, I don't know, click the splitter? Probably. Then I get $1 and an attack. Okay, anyway. Let's say I do something like this. What exactly are they up to? Let's say they click as much as they can. They get an Aegis and a Matrix. This does not defend, therefore hold Rhino. I lose the 1 ossified. And they can't ossify anymore, they have to lose all of them. And I have a slight militia exploit, which is nice. Or I could hold splitter, I suppose. But for 10, yeah, I don't want to hold the splitter, I want to attack. Let's just get an Aegis. I've got all this green and I want to turn it into soak, please. Seems good. I can get a Matrix as well, I suppose. I don't think there's any real reason. Oh, the Matrix is just way worse. It costs more gold. What am I thinking? Yeah, I have plenty of green. So I can do something like this. Actually, I should have maybe clicked this last turn? No, I only had 2 green left. That was force fielding. Okay. Now this is just like, gotta be game over, right? Oh, God. That is so over. You are dead a million times over. Okay. So, yes. Clearly was right to resign. I was a little bit scared about running out of drones, but 11 force fields is pretty overpowered. Or at least overpowering. Alright. Well, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.